Okay, so now I'm going to be really pushing it on running late tonight, but I did the others. I just poured the mermaid stuff and all of that, and like I was losing interest, but I poured one of these holographic coasters, and then I was like, well, why didn't you try that to see what would happen? So, yeah, now I'm gonna real quick whip up a couple of those. So I'm gonna use the Let's Resin UV resin, and I'm gonna do not huge drops, but I'm not gonna use the dotting tool on this one. I want slightly bigger drops, so maybe more of the hollow will show through, or it's just gonna fill in the holographic and make it disappear. I'm not sure which. And I'm keeping my gloves on because I did just slice my finger on dried resin. So, because I did not clean my one big spatula off last time I used it. We'll do that many on that one. So we'll get that one curing. I just wiped this one out, but it's not super dry yet. This one's already got a little black on it from the last pour I used it for. See, it's got some mica on it. Probably just because there's so much mica floating in the air around here lately. And I haven't even been putting some of these molds away because I've been using them so much. Again, I'm going to do slightly larger. Alright. Should be able to fit this one under with this one. So I did already mix my resin. I am using older resin that started to yellow again because when you're making a black base, it's a great time to use that up. So I'm going to use my Illuminate Black dye and my T-Rex. I'm going to put just a couple of drops of the Space Black ink in it. Use my favorite Let's Resin Chameleon Micas. And I want to use the grape and that one's plum. Galaxy, I know I already did with this method. I use the grape and the magenta, why not? Oops. Let's see how this one's doing. These are a little thicker, so they might take a couple rounds. I'm going to flip it over and put it back under. So, I got my little pots. I'm going to grab a fluffy brush. And, oops. I'm just going to adjust my chameleon micas all over the coaster mold. Just like all of the other ones of these we've done. Making sure I get the sides and the corners. I'm kind of spinning it to try and not add any more, because you don't want a lot of loose powder floating around. That is not straight. So that one is ready. If you do happen to demold one of these and it's slightly sticky on the back side because you didn't quite get it all the way cured, you can pop it back under the light at that point. Because I had like one bubble in the very first one I did that wasn't quite cured. And that worked just fine. Where'd my little dotty tool go that I was tapping with? I feel like that's good. So, dust this one quick. I do have one set of chameleon micas I want to order from Amazon this month, hopefully. To see if it's got any different variation on color than what I already have. I feel like the chameleons, you're sort of somewhat limited on color selection. I mean, the Let's Resin ones here are all gorgeous, but limited. So I'm just going to fill them up. And I do fill my coasters all the way, regardless of how thick they are, simply because I don't like that sharp edge on the bottom, and I can't for the life of me remember to order a deburring tool. I don't know why. I just, when I go to place orders, I forget them. So I think I'm going to look at TEMU and see if they have one and put it in my cart. That way, when I go to check out, it's there and I'll remember. So I'm going to spritz these with alcohol once or twice, and I will let them dry and we will be back to demold them. Okay, so these have been hanging out since before I got COVID. These have been here for like 2 weeks, and I just kind of really haven't been all that interested in demolding them. Like after I poured them, and then I had COVID, and I was just loafing around watching videos, I saw more and more of this popping up. So it's just not as exciting anymore once you've seen it a bunch of times. So this one I did end up with some flash. I do have a deburring tool coming, but it's not here yet. So let's see what we got. This one is slightly sticky. Alright, so I'm kind of confused. I thought, and maybe I'm wrong, but I thought in all the other videos I've been watching that the hollow showed in the water droplets, but not on the surface. So is mine backwards to everybody else's? I've also seen a lot more people's molds getting ruined. And I hadn't noticed it in my first several rounds, but I'll be curious to see what this does if I pour just a regular pour. I mean, I can still see the holographic across the entire surface, so I have 2 more of this exact mold sitting here that I haven't even taken out of the package yet. And I do have, yeah, same thing on this one. I can still see the hollow across the surface, though, in certain angles. So, I don't know, maybe did I do something wrong? I don't know. I just don't know. This one's really pretty. This is the grape, and this is the magenta, I believe. So, I'm going to have to put these under the UV light, because like I said, I do have one little dot on that one that is slightly sticky. And I noticed with my first set ever that if you pop it under the light, it'll finish curing any that wasn't quite hard cured. But that's my go at holographic with water drops. And like I said, this looks completely different than anybody else's that I've seen, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But this one's probably just going to hang out here and become a desk coaster for me. This one's good. So, there we go. We'll probably do this again at some point, but I've got a lot of other stuff going on right now, so I probably won't pour any molds until I finish getting my room picked up. I'm like half done getting my top shelves sorted, so once I get that done and I can kind of clean off this work surface, then I'll feel a little bit better about moving on with other projects. So we'll see. I'm trying. But that is it. I still think they look cool, but not what I expected. I mean, it kind of makes sense because the holographic on these is etched into the coaster itself. So it makes sense that the UV resin would fill that in more. But this is not what I was seeing from everybody else that I recall. So I'm going to go back and watch some other videos too. But that is it. They're pretty cool, and I will see you next time.